Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing, Billy?
First of all, maybe is for both of you. Shippa is very rare diseases. How did you uh, find the creative process behind it? Like how did you create the method? How did you create the word around it? I really like to know the creative process behind it.
This project came to us as an existing script. There was a draft that came to our attention, written by a guy named Lars Jacobson, that already sort of had it changed quite a bit from there to what we ended up shooting. Like we did a lot of sort of work to turn it into an action comedy. It was a little bit more of a serious kind of down the middle action movie, but the concept and the character was there in that draft of this guy who couldn't feel pain, who had this very rare genetic condition. And so when we kind of took our rewrite and we're working on prepping the movie and directing it, it was very important to us to be sensitive to the fact that this condition is a real thing. And although perhaps somebody who is not as informed about this might think it's cool to not feel pain, like it's some superpower with no downsides, that's not the truth, either in the movie or in real life. It's very debilitating, and so we wanted to take care to have a really roomy and spacious first act where we could really show this character's life and how isolating this condition can be, and all of these precautions that Nate has to take that people without a condition like that don't need to think about. And of course, we end up taking liberties in the film of what any human body would be able to sustain, as every action movie does. Our priority was always telling kind of an empowering story about somebody with a disability that ends up finding they can take that disability that they're insecure about and turn it into an asset, and something that will help them on their quest. And we think that's sort of very relatable for everyone, because not everyone has a genetic disorder like this, but everyone has insecurities, and there's wish fulfillment in the idea of taking that insecurity and realizing you can kind of use that in your life.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very powerful message that you have in these movies. And do you have the name, the Novocaine, before when you get the draft, or do you find it in the meantime?
No, yeah, it was called Novocaine when we got it, and I think it's just we loved the title right from the beginning. There's something about it that is it's a provocative word that for a lot of people, at least in America, like is makes you think about pain and going to the dentist and things like that, And so I think a lot of movies would not want that association, but for this, we welcomed it because that's what this movie is all about. Is kind of these really gruesome and painful situations that would normally be completely horrific to watch, but because there's so much humor in the script and because he can't feel it, it allows the audience to watch these moments of grisly violence and yet be laughing, and because you can laugh and kind of shield your eyes and be having this, visceral experience in a movie theater, that was the sort of special sauce that really drew us to the project in the first place.
Well, I hope I have more time with you guys because this is a very interesting talk with you. But would you like to give a word or two about the movie why the people should watch?
Oh,
Oh,
of
sure.
course.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we think that this movie works for audiences around the world. What I was saying earlier about the character journey being deeply relatable, it's also just a movie that is designed to be seen in a movie theater. And, it's not that is not driven toward an American sensibility. It's a human being thing, I think sitting in a dark room and watching this movie with a group of people and screaming and gasping and laughing and grabbing each other and squeezing, that's just something that is fun no matter where you are. So audiences in Indonesia will certainly love this movie. You should get out there and see Novocaine when it opens.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Robert.